Welcome everyone back into Crypto's news. It is me, your host Omar Bam, aka Crypto, here and ready to bring you daily updates as much as possible. Anyway, I really would like to make it daily again. Updates on what is going on in crypto in regards to sentiment, rumors, gossip, news. Maybe we'll get even some nice interviews coming up soon. So thank you so very much for joining me. I could not be happier to be here presenting this information for you guys. Make sure you stay informed on top of what is going on in crypto today. So it is June 23rd, 2022. We're going to go ahead and begin to dive right into things. Welcome, Kay. Nice to have you. It's nice to have you just as much. Yeah, it's been is everything, it looks a little bit blurry, right? Let's see if we can make this a little clearer. Sorry about that, guys. See, this is what happens when I don't have my partner. But I will have my partner soon because I did want to say some good news. My partner Elle and I are getting back together. We broke up for something like 2 months, and I'll have to say it was very lonely these 2 months, but I could not be choose love at the end of the day. And I was in a state where I just did not. And ended up kind of going off the rails if you heard my story, and I was put on antipsychotics for like a month. I didn't realize that these things, these atypical antipsychotics I was on are basic. The one specifically was a derivative of benzodiazepine, so like a benzo. So I've been feeling pretty weird the last few days. That's why I didn't do a video yesterday, and it's been kind of a struggle to get back on track and to just really feel everything, to be myself, but I think it's beginning to happen. I just felt like, I don't even know how to describe it coming off of this. I tapered off of it and took my last pill like 6 days ago, 7 days ago, something like that. And only like 3 days ago did withdrawals really hit me. And they just came all of a sudden, and I felt like my heart was beating super quick. I had a little bit of trouble sleeping, passed out from exhaustion. And yeah, so on top of all this, trying to be on top of crypto and markets and diving back into it and making sure that you guys are always getting the good information has been that struggle. So I think I'm feeling better today. Much better, and it's really nice to know that my partner and I are getting back together. So I'm trying to get all the pieces back together in life, and I thank you so much for being a part of it. This show is one of the things that I kind of tore down when I had a manic episode. It might be bipolar. I don't know. It might be the nootropics. I don't know. I feel pretty fine if I'm balanced, exercising, eating right. I'm pretty sure I'm just fine, but that's not what the doctors thought at the time. Anyways, dangerous stuff. Don't mess around with it. Be very, very careful being put on something like that, or allowing one of your loved ones to be put on it. I've learned just what a nightmare it really is, and how long term some of the side effects and withdrawals can be. So just insane. I might even, I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna get in. Thank you guys. Thank you, Alexander. Yeah, glad to be back. I'm glad you're doing great. NFT addiction helpline. See, that's the kind of thing that gets you put on antipsychotics. What's up, Fareed? Nice to see you. So let's go ahead and start looking into things. I collated some important information for you that I think you need to be on top of. So let's go ahead and do it. So when we look at the prices today, it is a nice bounce. It was a bit of a red day, but we're still just mostly flat right now. But to me, it looks like we're trending up. A lot of the bearishness that we got surrounding the Fed news seems to have died away. It was just really bad. It was 11 weeks of red. Maybe this will be the first green week. I don't know. As you can see, Bitcoin up 3.9%, Bitcoin up 5.8%, and some of the biggest winners. Solana right there, 8.7%. Biggest winners over the last 24 hours. Evmos, I'm not very familiar with that. Polygon. That is layer 2, working out quite well. I hear the Matic bulls are coming out hard, and there might be a potential inverse head and shoulders, but look into that yourself. Be very careful. According to, I think it was Cointelegraph, inverse head and shoulders, I don't know where they got that data from, have an 18.9% or something like that. Failure rate, so be cautious. Thorchain 16.6%, Cosmos up 10.7%. That one had a popular Ethereum project. They were big on Ethereum, DYDX. They've decided they're going to be built on Cosmos, and so they're seeking to do their own blockchain on Cosmos, which is a network of different blockchains. But yeah, they've been around for some time, and I believe they're one of the better projects when it comes to creating a metaverse of blockchains that are interoperable. So Yeah, cool. That's up nicely as well. So we have right now, let's see, yeah, gas prices are climbing. So there does seem to be interaction with smart contracts going on quite a bit right now for Ethereum. I think a good marker of activity across the chains. What's up, TechCan? Good to see you. So this was a fantastic video. If you're kind of following the Fed, and that's really the main story, if you're looking at the macro picture, you're trying to figure out how cryptos fit into it. And we're beginning to realize that cryptos fit into it quite a lot because it's considered a risk asset. I think ultimately they are safe haven assets, and what we're really doing here is a battle of good money versus the bad old money. We just have to last long enough for the bad money to get weeded out in something called Gresham's law, where we use the bad money first before the good money. It's really the smart way to be about things. So we're right now trying to wait for the dollar to collapse and for all these other fiat currencies to collapse, and they really are. As was actually said in this interview, you should absolutely check out with Luke Groman. Please, one of the best ones that I've seen. I watch interviews for many hours during the days trying to get a tap into what the heads of different people are looking at it, from traditional fi, from alternative finance, and what the heads of people thinking about the Fed, people thinking at it from a stock perspective, really trying to get a picture of how crypto fits into all of it. And he had a great he thinks that it might be as soon as September before the Fed reverses course, or around Q3, which might line up with the merge for Ethereum. Now I'm hearing that the merge for Ethereum, 90% reduction, and that could be like a triple halvening. You have Bitcoin's halvening happening every 4 years, causing a huge price increase. Ethereum, just a crazy part of the ecosystem, despite what the maxis want you to believe. It inspired everything and continues to be the leader when it comes to smart contracts, when it comes to adoption, and when it comes to allowing nations to plug into something that's decentralized truly and not staying within closed walls, corporations, individuals, to build permissionlessly, not always in the cheapest way, but it pays to build in the bear market. But anyway, they're going to have this reduction happening around September. It might be the same time that the Fed reverses course and decides that they're actually going to have to begin buying bonds or trying to keep interest rates low again, because there will be a point where they will cause a recession, if not break everything in the financial system. He goes into a lot more detail around this, and so I would like for you to really take some time. It's really worth listening to the entire interview. Some great questions that were posed here by, I can't remember his name right now, but just a fantastic voice in this space as well when it comes to thinking about finance. This gentleman right here, and that's the channel Wealthion. Just like Real Vision, really good source of information. And if we reverse as soon as September, that means that you want to be in some sort of trade. You don't want to be out of the picture. You don't want to be completely out of cryptos before then, because you would miss what could be the initial of the skyrocketing of prices. And what is it they say? Most of the money is made in like 1% of the trading days. It could likely be around some sort of reversal or some sort of leak news around that. So it kind of would suck to be completely in cash. That's why I think picking up some of the better projects, like you're seeing some individuals perhaps do, trying to look at Polygon or Thorchain or whatever, trying to take those names that are getting cheap. We've had quite a drop off. I mean, Bitcoin has gone down again significantly, just a huge spike. We've seen these huge spikes in prior bull runs as well, straight to the downside. But I'm not saying that we're at the bottom here. Again, I think we are going to see potentially quite a few more months, at least a couple of more months of downside, just because of the Fed narrative and then trying to be increasingly hawkish. But I'm beginning to think that it's more about what they say rather than what actually happens. There's been a lot of money that's been printed, a lot of money just that has no place to go, that's still passively investing through ETFs into their stocks, and then eventually still discovering crypto and trying to get exposure to it. Crypto is getting a lot of hate right now, but that's precisely when you usually want to be buying. So yeah, this is a longer term picture. It goes all the way back. Bitcoin has always rebounded. There's a lot of calls right now for maybe an $8,000 Bitcoin. I think that would bring us to this trend line that we've seen, a longer term kind of trend line of if you were to do this kind of slope going up, you would see that we probably, for me, I think between 8,000 to 12,000 would make sense if that trend line does continue. It becomes more and more vertical. But again, because of COVID, because of the massive amount of money printing, the easing, the stimulus checks, there's just a lot more money in the world seeking assets. And money from around the world that might seek some sort of asset that has no borders, Bitcoin, which ties into everything. So just be very careful being completely out of Bitcoin if you have expendable money. Of course, keeping money in there that you need to live is a very dangerous game to be playing, especially if you're doing it on things like Celsius, like a dummy. Then just be cautious with that. So I think Robert Breedlove, one of the leading voices, freedom maximalist, he had a really good thing to say here in regards to all this inflation. Inflation is you working harder to pay off your government's accumulated debts. Absolutely. It ties into that interview. They go into that. The U.S. really is stuck here because if interest rates go up enough and the Fed allows that to happen, then it's potentially insolvency unless the U.S. prints a lot more money, or the Fed really, to buy those bonds that the U.S. has to issue in order to pay the increasing amount of debt. If not, there's just a complete collapse of everything. And why would they want to collapse the entire society? It's not. It's the least politically tenable thing to do. The only thing that seems like it will make sense at all, or that will happen, is hyperinflation eventually. So you want to be holding hard assets. Obviously, we're seeing that versus like food versus gas right now. Those are just some of the hardest assets. People need them on a daily basis just to live. But when we're thinking about money, it's been gold, it's been silver, and Bitcoin is likely going to be a part of that basket, although it's been playing a risk asset recently. I think there is ultimately a bottom floor where those who really understand what is going on here on a bigger picture are seeking to add exposure and wouldn't want to be out of the game. So yeah, thank you, Tech Ken. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're with me on all this. So just be aware of that. I want to be as concise as possible. I do think there will be downside, but there will be upside, massive upside, and you don't want to be out of the picture. So long as the internet exists, Bitcoin is going to be trading. So hello, advanced trade, goodbye, Coinbase Pro. So previously, it was just Coinbase. So that's where you did your buys and sells. Then it was GDAX, a global digital asset exchange. Coinbase added more and more tokens. We were doing this show, I think, right around when that came out, when this show originally launched on the other channel. Back in 2016, GDAX was the primary place to go. They even had leverage at one point where you could go long and short. But now so GDAX eventually became Coinbase Pro. And while Coinbase Pro has existed for advanced traders to trade directly into the order book for cheaper fees, substantially cheaper fees than if you go on Coinbase, you often hear that advice. Don't go on Coinbase to do your things. Go on Coinbase Pro. So that has continued to work until now. It may not. By the end of the year, Coinbase is going to be getting rid of Coinbase Pro, and they've been building in parallel this Coinbase Advanced Trading section. It's not even a complete platform, because if you go to coinbase.com now and you click trade, right there you're going to get the option to go from basic to advanced. You can click on advanced. This is kind of what it looks like. And you can trade between all these different tokens. They're the tokens that are available on Coinbase Pro, so you won't be missing much out there, which is nice to see. It also has trading view here, pluggable in there. So it's better charting than you're going to get on Coinbase Pro or that you ever got on GDAX, which is very short range. But it's still the case that we don't really see the entire picture. This only goes back to 2015. I like to get as much data as possible sometimes for the longer term. That's how I like to think about cryptos. Really long-term hodling, really long-term big picture. But if you're, just a normal trader, you're not crazy like me, then this should work just fine. You can even go one-day intervals, go all range, and you're going to go all the way back there to 2015. And you can obviously get tighter here. You can switch between candles and lines. It's not the most advanced trading, but it gives you some tools here to begin doing what you need to be doing within the markets. And so by the end of the year, they're going to be weeding out, again, Coinbase Pro, and this will be the only option is Coinbase Advanced. So this caused a lot of concern. People were naturally concerned that fees would then increase for a lot of users who prefer to use Coinbase Pro for those lower fees. That is not going to be the case. We've now seen in a tweet, we think it's important to clarify some information about what we've seen about Coinbase Pro, said Coinbase, and our plans to launch Coinbase Advanced Trade. What's happening over the coming months? We plan to merge the features and fee schedule of Coinbase Pro into a new unified Coinbase account that offers our users the choice of an advanced trading experience or the simplicity of the Coinbase consumer app. Why are we doing it? This will result in a vastly improved experience where users no longer need to keep two entirely different apps and balances when they want to access advanced trading features. You get the same functionality. You rely on an easier to use product suite. It was kind of weird that they were different, but yeah, I guess there were reasons for that. No impact to Coinbase Exchange. This in no way impacts Coinbase Exchange Access, which is here to stay. Coinbase Exchange is a separate product from Coinbase Pro. I do wonder if this is going to affect the APIs though, and how that is going to be working for applications to plug into, whether those are going to be the same as they were for Coinbase Pro and Coinbase, because they were basically different websites. So this might break some tools. I have to wonder. That might apply to you. Better for our customers. Put simply, we are offering more functionality with the same access and same fee structure. So same fees as Coinbase Pro is known for and loved for, in a simpler interface that connects all your Coinbase accounts in one place. So that's really the good news. So yeah, they say you can use it for API trading, manual trading, staking. So I guess since if there was no regular API before for Coinbase, and it really was only the Coinbase Pro for trade, since it was only buy and sell that you were able to do on Coinbase and not true trading, you had to go on Coinbase Pro for that, then I suppose the APIs should work. So that should be good news. And keeping the fees same is a good thing. A lot of people are really shitting on Coinbase right now because they've been adding shitcoin after shitcoin. But I don't know what the decisions are myself that are going on at Coinbase right now. But hopefully it's always with the user in mind. There is some kind of ill news that's going on here in relation to them, however, for sending crypto for customers in Netherlands. So if you're in the Netherlands, I know we have had a lot of users from the Netherlands in the past. This might affect you and whether you want to continue to use Coinbase. Providing additional information when sending cryptocurrency. This is kind of wild. Starting on June 27th, so in just 4 days out of nowhere, Coinbase will introduce a few changes for customers in the Netherlands to comply with local regulations. This change will only impact customers in the Netherlands who are transferring digital assets from their Coinbase Exchange account to a wallet off the Coinbase Exchange platform. This change will not affect a user's Coinbase experience of buying, selling, and exchanging digital assets on Coinbase. So in a nutshell, you're going to have to provide your full name, the recipient's full name, if you're going to be transferring off of Coinbase in the Netherlands. The recipient's full name, purpose of the transfer, and the recipient's residential address, and a huge invasion of what has been crypto privacy. This is the problem with centralized platforms. I don't care what their mission statement is, whether they've been good or bad in the past. They do have to abide by regulations, continue to function as corporations in local regulations. And I mean, this is kind of a sign of things that could be coming to other countries, which is why it should concern you, even if you're just not in the Netherlands, because soon enough you might have to fill out this information, and that will be kept on a log file, of course. So you have to fill out sending to myself checkbox. Check that if you're sending to yourself. So you have to do that before you transfer to anyone else. And all this, including an address, which is kind of weird when there are no real physical addresses that tie into the blockchain. I am not really on TikTok, Tech Ken. On fire lately. Thank you, Soda. That means a lot to hear. Yo, what's up, Validator ETH? Always nice to get your yos, man. Yeah, they're getting rid of Coinbase. Wow. Josh Davis, hello. And Renee. Oh, you made it to a live stream. Welcome, Renee. Coinbase NFT marketplace turned out to be an epic fail too. Yeah, like most of these NFT marketplace. That's the thing with trying to invest in innovative technologies, that it is difficult to pick what the winners are going to be. I was privileged enough to have started the show very early on, really relative to the boom that happened thanks to Ethereum with ICOs and a lot of those early projects. It just goes to show the anti-fragility of a lot of what's being built when it's truly decentralized or built on some sort of DAO, decentralized autonomous organization that gets votes and can really change things. I did talk about upgradable smart contracts and how they were bad in the last episode. Check that out if you missed it. But they can also be good if you have some sort of DAO. In the event that there's some sort of hack and it has to make some sort of decision, it's nice that they could change the smart contract to benefit the users. What we really want to see here is decentralized voting that is not just about helping those who already have the highest stake, but hopefully helping humanity forward along and providing more access and more openness and building tools that enable us to interact. I mean, you name the tool. That's what all this is about. There are so many different ways to use blockchain, and they have been used for good and bad. Unfortunately, you have figures like Michael Saylor out there saying that we need the governments, we need the regulations to protect us from all the scammers. And yes, I mean, damn, these scammers are absolutely terrible, but there can be better ways using this new technology to stop the scammers. I'm thinking about how you go on Hive or something like that and just being downvoted a lot of these and flags based on reputation points. You see the scam comments are very rare, in fact, to show up on my feed. I rarely ever see them myself. How can we get scammers off of YouTube? And I know we have already a scammer here on this show. Even we just, and thank you so much. I mean, it's not just, but thank you so much. We have over 600 subscribers on the relaunch. That's huge. Need to hit the 1,000 so we can monetize. So appreciate your help getting the word out there. But yeah, there are ways to think about this though, without having to call for the regulators to come and save us in every single instance, because it's just going back to old models when we're trying to rethink things. But I do understand why they need to comply. I don't personally agree with all of this. I doubt many of you do as well, but I mean, you do you, of course. You're welcome to think whatever you want to. It's my own opinion. This was what Fledgling Banana had to say. It's the FATF, Freedom Action Task Force, or no, the Financial Action Task Force. I just think the Freedom Action Task Force is a way more like superhero name, and that would be perfect since when they name these task force or anything, it usually does the exact opposite. If it's a Freedom Task Force, you're gonna get a little bit more slavery, financial or otherwise. But anyway, it's the Financial Action Task Force. Yes, travel rule. Those are the haves, by the way. You're not in that club. If you're listening to the show, you don't need to listen to the show. It's the FATF travel rule from last year being shoved down. Many of you remember that. Everyone's throats, same as all the other stupid ideas the FATF shits out. Eventually, it ends up being regulation everywhere. Just send to your own address first, then to whomever, and then the whole thing is completely pointless. Same as all their other idiotic anti-money laundering regulations. The only purpose seemingly to cost financial institutions money and annoy customers. Next up is banning the use of non-custodial wallets, I guess. And they made up that term, the FATF, right? Non-custodial wallets. Wasn't that them, Brian Brooks and company? Paxos added it too a while ago. So yeah, it looks like banning the use of your own wallet. Paxos had to do that. I hope that's not the case. Binance has eliminated fees for Bitcoin trades. I think this is great news. If you primarily do trade Bitcoin, maybe you prefer not to get into the weeds, which is a good idea generally if you don't have time to spend following these tokens and really getting involved and messing with them. Maybe you prefer to just hold the big boy Bitcoin, but you want to stay on top of everything. So you watch Crypt0's news, but you're still just a Bitcoin trader. Thank you, Havo. I am feeling a lot better actually today. Just today, I got some really good sleep last night, miraculous sleep. I put 2 tea bags in my tea, but yeah, I was having some crazy withdrawals. I talked about it in the beginning of the show, but I am feeling better. So, yeah, thank you for asking, Havo. Hope everything's well with you, man, and everybody else watching. BinanceUS eliminating fees on Bitcoin trades is great. This is coming out of, apparently, according to CZ, the head of Binance, coming out of ad spots. So they were paying for advertising quite a lot during the bull market. I guess they set aside some of that money during the bull market to put for allowing for eliminating fees for Bitcoin, which is really nice. This is going to be also for their pairs USDT, so for Tether, for USDC, and for BUSD, so for Binance stablecoin there. You are not going to be paying fees. So this is really huge, actually. If you do use BinanceUS and you trade Bitcoin, then this should be fantastic news for you. Or it's a way to, of course, bring people. There's always this kind of race to try to get customers, and Binance is trying to grow in the bear market. They've done this. They did this in the last bear market as well. I think it's a wise approach to things because crypto has always rebounded. So to try to really focus on the users and for allowing opportunities. I'm surprised at Binance. They came out of nowhere. I was very scrupulous if you watched the show, as you know, originally. But for the most part, they've done right. They've survived now multiple cycles. So that's now they're like an exchange OG that's done better than some other exchanges. Now, it's very liquid how these exchanges stay at the leaderboard. BinanceUS is relatively new. It's not exactly Binance. But it's a change that's effective immediately, according to the CEO, Brian Schroeder. It's an opportunity to revolutionize the way fees are approached in our industry. I don't know, because that's how you make your money, right? You need to charge fees. You can't just do this for free. But I guess if you attract the Bitcoin traders, you might attract some altcoin traders too. Increase accessibility to crypto and help our market and customers in time of need. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they will build up a war chest after choosing to end U.S. ad spots during the bull market. Okay. And it's according to Jack Mallers, who's the CEO of a Bitcoin payments app called Strike. You might be familiar with them. They took a similar approach to Bitcoin last year in lowering fees a substantial amount, where now commissions are only 0.3%. So nice to see as an alternative to platforms that are making it increasingly difficult for users to want to transact on their platforms. They're doing the exact opposite. It's a race to the bottom, said Jack Mallers. You saw this in the equities market. So when it came to stocks, you saw prices get lower and lower on brokerages. Now executing an equities trade is free. That's called Robinhood. So just a little bit of an update here. If you are a Bancor user, I again dove into that in the last video, so you want to check that out if you missed it. I'm not going to go into that, but in a nutshell, Bancor may be having some issues. I thought, and this is a correction, I thought that they had paused withdrawals, but they didn't. Withdrawals are still open. They just will not have impermanence loss protection. So I thought this was of note if you are a user still thinking about Bancor or using Bancor. For those in Bancor version 3, the danger at the moment, this is the Angier on ETH Finance, is if the price between the asset and BNT diverges to the Bancor network token. So yeah, Bancor network token gets issued, it gets printed to cover impermanence loss, basically, for users. The danger at the moment is if the price between the asset and BNT diverges significantly, which will lead to greater and greater IL, if you're familiar with impermanence loss. Basically, you have two options. Stay in the protocol and pray that the team can save it and that BNT doesn't collapse. 2, initiate a withdrawal, so you're going to have to wait 7 days and then accept what you're offered if you have funds staked there on Bancor. If you go this route, you have to pray that the divergence between BNT and the asset doesn't increase, as you'll get even less back. And of course, hope that BNT doesn't collapse before you withdraw, which might be the safer option for you if you are concerned. And I've heard a lot of talks about whether it's even possible that whether who was it, Joseph DeLong, is it, on Twitter, he doesn't even believe it's possible that you can program within a protocol impermanence protection and have that covered. In fact, I mean, Bancor did try with printing BNT, but as we can see, they may be having some sort of issues here. Where you are in the withdrawal queue won't affect what you get, though. As above, it depends on the asset's price versus BNT. So I think this is a cool link. Check that out if you are using any sort of impermanence loss thing. So maybe you're using Uniswap and you're providing liquidity there and you want to check on impermanence loss. There's a tool there, https://dailydefi.org/tools/impermanent-loss-calculator. And there you can run your own numbers to see. I wish that had existed back when I was doing the risky stuff in the summer of DeFi. I didn't know about that calculator. Fun times. And the danger in the long term is how you re-enable ILP, impermanence loss protection, without seeing the BNT price collapse as people withdraw and dump instantly. So it's a scary situation to think about the potential of what could be going down here with Bancor. While they've downplayed that there are any serious issues, because of what we've seen with Three Arrows Capital, with Celsius, everyone is a little bit on edge right now, which I think a good thing, that we're all taking those lessons and thinking a little bit better rather than every number always go up. What happens if everything goes down? So Plan E, I thought this was nice. This was just talking about the long term and why you want to be thinking about crypto for the long term, like I spoke about in the beginning of this video. Let's start a chain of obvious reasons to be long-term bullish. And now he only put one point here. I've given mine throughout the year, so I'm not going to bother. But he said, and it's really a reminder, it doesn't matter what the number is, but it's huge. But $70 trillion are expected to be transferred to millennials from baby boomers over the next 25 years for demographical reasons alone. Millennials are over-indexed to crypto versus boomers. Crypto will grow from this reason alone. We do see a substantial amount of millennials and younger folks are really trusting crypto and really getting involved with crypto versus what we've seen with the boomer class, the haves, those who have had perhaps better opportunities to acquire real estate. It's just, I don't know that I again believe as much in free will. We're all kind of in our boxes right now versus determinism. That's been something that I've been super getting into, just that philosophical question of, or whatever kind of question you want to say it is, of free will versus determinism. I think it lines up with spirituality anyway, like it's God's plan, right? But anyway, point being, us younger people have really not had the best time, and now with inflation we're having an even worse time. It's applying to everyone, of course, across the board. Boomers are expected to be retiring, but will that retirement be there for them? They're going to be competing with jobs with us millennials who are jobless here on YouTube, just talking about crypto and hoping for the best. But anyway, point being, we really trust crypto more. It's given us more opportunities. For me, it certainly has in huge amounts, and for many of you as well, if you've been around for any amount of time. To really reposition ourselves in life and change our position on the financial ladder of the world. Nobody else is really creating these opportunities for us. It's a very parasitic world out there, and crypto has given us a lot just because of, I mean, technology does that, right? How much more connected are our lives because of the internet? It's the same thing now with finance moving to the internet, and that's really what Bitcoin is all about. So we could potentially see this huge transfer of wealth as boomers do begin to die out over the generations, and I really over the decades. I don't want to see anybody, of course, pass away. And if you're going through something like that with your parents, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's a fact that we've seen people die continuously. Not that I hope we don't live forever. I hope if you want to, you will. I'm almost done reading Ready Player One, and that might be very possible if we live to see virtual reality integrate so realistically with haptic feedbacks and into our brains. That might be heaven. Maybe we'll reach heaven in virtual reality, but we have to survive to that point, and crypto might be one of the only ways to do that. And I think that's what the younger generations are realizing. So huge amounts of wealth and inheritance that could be transferring over. And to me, it's remarkable with that, with all the money printing we've seen. We're below $1 trillion market cap for cryptos. What is this? We're sitting at yesterday was around 880 million. Now it's $964 million. This is nothing, a drop in the bucket with the amount of money that is out there. So better to be in rather than out. And that's the way I see it. And that's why I'll continue to preach for a while. If you want to preach with me, please join the Crypt0's news group on Facebook. I've forgiven Facebook for deleting my my old group. It had over 100,000 members. I think it was like 114,000 members when we lost. And a lot of our mods and admins got banned for no reason. They wouldn't provide us any reason, but I forgave them. There were a lot of things that happened like that, where there was crossfire, where their systems were trying to figure out what was actual terrorism, what was actual spam, and they just had trouble with all the growth. So let's assume that they were trying to do the best. A lot of people working there. I don't know that we should, but anyway, I have forgiven them personally. So please join the Crypt0's news group. We're at 3.8K members. I would like to see it come back to life. Mostly right now it's people sharing stuff, and you're welcome to do that. Share tools, share charts, share videos that you might have. And we have a lot of OGs that are in there that might be able to provide you some sort of information. Let's make it one of the premier spots for quality information that we can find on Facebook. There are a lot of groups, but the quality to quantity ratio is kind of trash. And right now it's kind of dead. Crypto, Facebook, crypto, everything is kind of dead on social media. But if you're here, I think it's a good thing to be here before the herd, of course. Every day brings new choices. That's going to be our quote of the day by Martha Beck. I think this is something that should give you hope every single day. It's true that we get the opportunity to paint that palette and to make those choices. There's something beautiful in the fabric of consciousness and reality, and I invite you to explore that with me and whatever your version of that is. Thank you for sharing it with me and being a part of this, even if it's just through a screen. We're doing something here that's beautiful. Take care, everyone. Much love, and stay cryptic. Peace.